family once again. First, we've got Brian Smart, Mr. Content and Dadpreneur. He's striking the perfect balance between raising his youngest daughter and creating masterful content. Next, meet Denise Annalise Spiller, the gig expert and relentless traveler and writer. She turns every gig into an adventure. Then there's Jay Pasquale, the storytelling strategist, a poet and voiceover artist. He's weaving tales that'll make you think, laugh, and maybe even change your perspective. And wrapping it up, we have Eric Clark, the soul speaker and author. He's here to soulfully help you craft your story and narrative. Get ready for a show filled with wisdom, inspiration, and the magic of family. Let's welcome Cassandra Terry and the rest of the Fam Five.
Hello.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to the Cassandra Terry Morning
We're
Show.
having some technical
Cassandra
difficulties
Terry,
here, folks.
mindset coach,
Looks like
founder
we're in a
of
loop with
Manifesting
the
Miracle Makers, rounded up her
introduction
LinkedIn family
music,
once again.
intro music.
First, we've got Brian Smart, Mr. Content.
I don't know if you can hear me.
He's striking the perfect balance between raising his youngest daughter and creating masterful content.
There you go. So, lots of things happening today. And none of them very helpful to running the show. Today's the Wake Up Wednesday edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show, and loving the fact that we're all here in support of Cassandra Terry. She is not with us today in her normal capacity. She's actually in North Carolina. She is taking care of business and doing her day job. And obviously, North Carolina, there she is. Looking, yay! So I've had.
I kept the music going, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. It's okay.
Yeah, we're in a conference room getting ready for our meeting, and so I just put the phone down and was talking to some of my colleagues and realized that you guys needed me to stop it. So apologize.
It's okay. You know, she is showing up for us today. We talk about intentionality, right? And if I had access to the quote, I would show it to you. But there you go. Your intentions shape your actions shape your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. And that's from an anonymous writer or person who shared that quote. Now, intentionality for me today has showed up in such a way that I'm going to thank God, because it's been.
So part of the issue that Jay has had is that he's had a power surge on his end, and it's taken all his permissions away. So that's power surge number 3. So he doesn't have the typical access that he has. I'm hanging in for as long as I can. But like he said, I'm traveling for business today, and Tammy is here to sit in. So Tammy, I think I could still hear and see you. So if Jay loses power, you can carry on.
Absolutely.
And I will try to keep an eye on the clock. And when you guys wrap up, I'll shut things down. But other than that, I'm just kind of hanging out in the background to jump in and help if need be.
Okay.
So you may want to, Tammy, because I can still see Jay is in and out. So if you want to take the quote um, read it to the audience again, and then just start to give your feedback on what comes up for you when you think about
Absolutely. Absolutely.
intentionality and the power of intentionality and us meeting our goals.
So I will read it again. Your intentions shape your actions shape your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. For me, that intentionality has become my word for the year. Actually, just in general. Um, and for me, that kind of manifests itself in the sense of I'm not. I want to be into my purpose. I want to be focused on my purpose. I don't want to, do anything that's going to take me away from my purpose. As you start to network and connect yourself with different people, different organizations, you get pulled in so many different directions. People want you, present, this opportunity comes and this other opportunity comes, and which are blessings, right? Because it's always a blessing when people want you to, be a part of whatever they're doing. But one thing I've learned is sometimes I have the tendency to overstretch myself and do things that really do not align me to my purpose or my goals. So it takes me off my path of being intentional because I'm just kind of all over the place. So for me, and that's a part of being intentional, is to make sure I'm aligning myself with things that directly align with my purpose, because that's important to me. I don't want to be like, my girlfriend would say, have shiny object syndrome, where I'm just like looking at, anything that pops up that's nice and shiny and looks fun, I'm just going to run over here and do that, and run over here and do this. um, so it's become important to me that when opportunities come my way, that I look up and say, okay, does this align with my goals? Does this align with my purpose? And that is what I'm seeking these days, because I know, in the past I would have the tendency to want to just help everybody, and I think I'm sure a lot of us are that way. You just want to help people, you want to jump in and do this and that, but it doesn't always align with our goals or align with our purpose. And so that is something I'm trying to make sure I stay focused on. So intentionality to me is just being focused, and unapologetic too. That's the other part of my intentionality, is being unapologetic about reaching my goals and my purpose, and staying in line with my purpose is, you know, um, making sure I just stay on that track, and and
I'm
such.
so glad that you said that. That is actually my word for 2024,
But
unapologetic.
unapologetic,
Hmm.
yes,
It doesn't
yeah,
mean that if I goof up, I won't say I'm sorry. It doesn't mean that I'm not concerned about the folks that are outside of, some people don't see past the tip of their nose. It doesn't mean that. But
right,
what it does mean is that I'm not going to dim my light. I'm not going to be smaller. I'm not going to be less than who I am to make someone else feel comfortable. I'm going to walk in the
exactly.
fullness of what it means to be me. And if that's unattractive to you, you are free to exit stage left. And the beauty of that is you only attract the people who are really supposed to be a part of the mission that you're on right now. When you
That is
spend
so
all of
true.
your energy trying to show up as some souped up version of yourself, you end up having to keep that up because you attract people who are attracted to that. But when you come in the fullness of who you really are, the people who are drawn to that will be the people who are really your people. It's the people that you should be and want to be with.
And that's so important, right? Because when you align yourself with the people you're supposed to be around, that strengthens your purpose, right? And you don't even have to try to be as intentional, because they will help you along the way, right? They will support your purpose. They will support your mission, your goals. And you don't have to try so hard. But you're so right, Cassandra. If you put on a facade so that you can kind of please everyone, you get so distracted by all these different things and trying to keep up that facade too. So that's a lot of work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Welcome, Brian. Jay, it looks like you are back and you guys are in full control again. Do you have your admin rights now, Jay?
I do. Thank you
I
so
do.
much.
And I see Brian does as well. Welcome, Conchita, and welcome, Dr. Marcia. It's always great to see you guys. Now that you guys are rolling, I will go ahead and exit stage left myself and let you guys continue with the show. So thank you so much for covering.
Thank you, Cassandra, so much. If anybody um, has the example of intentionality down pat, it's Cassandra Terry. Take a look at what she did today. Absolutely. She is in the middle of doing business and still taking care of business here on the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. So definitely appreciate her leadership and her continued support of the fam in the middle of what she needs to do and what she needs to take care of. I will also say, and toot my horn a little bit this morning, so toot. Uh, 3 power surges, and could not get in. Had to go to my phone to be able to get into StreamYard this morning. This is how I want to be intentional to my day. Show up for the fam and for our special guest, Tim. And for the audience, you are all special guests, right? On the Cassandra Terry Morning Show every day, every time you show up. And so that's intentionality as well. And we definitely appreciate that. It is Wake Up Wednesday. And on Wake Up Wednesday, we talk about intentionality and what that means. And so if I don't show that example, if I don't show up for the people that depend on me, then I'm not living with intentionality in the moment. And so this is why it's important for me to do what I'm doing and to be that example. And I want to just thank Tammy for her words of wisdom, and I was able to hear it as I was trying to get back on the computer. You can't be distracted by the things that are going to take you away from what you want to do and what you're called to do and what purpose you have. And as someone who experienced trauma as a result of a natural disaster, you really get to see things from a different perspective when everything is taken away from you. And so all the distractions of the world just disappear. And for me, it was literal because really I had nothing but the clothes on my back for weeks, right? And literally picking up the pieces. I survived a tornado. And that was several years ago. And trying to understand that and what that meant and how I could do what I needed to do for my family. Even after that, in the aftermath, right? What I tried to do to make sure that I was showing up for my family, it was important to me. And it was a really pivotal moment in my life trying to figure out things. And I've gained so much as a result of that. And we all experience storms. They may not be actual natural disasters, but we all experience storms in our life. But we can't be distracted by the adversity or struggle or stopped and stagnant in that. We have to keep going. I was a little bit distracted by all the stuff going on. And it's probably because it is 18 degrees out where I'm at. And maybe some tree limbs are falling. You know, and so I'm so far south. I'm not getting snow, but we definitely are feeling it. And you know, I'm just going to read scripture this morning. You know, the adversary gets in our way a lot of times when we're trying to impart a message, share the gospel, share the good news. So I'm going to do what I always do. And I'm going to read Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. What does all that mean? So laying aside every weight and sin, what does that verse, that part of the verse mean? And what it is it's advising believers to consciously remove any hindrance or burden that might impede their spiritual journey. And I was just talking about that. You know, God can act in such a way that he will remove all that unnecessary, you know, what people are calling extra stuff these days, right? And then what does running with endurance mean? It's that deliberate commitment to persevere in the Christian walk, despite challenges and obstacles. Despite challenges and obstacles, 3 power surges, and Cassandra having to do business, right? And still showing up. Looking to Jesus, the focus on Jesus as the founder and perfecter of our faith. That emphasizes the intentional gaze towards him, right? The ultimate example and source of inspiration. And enduring the cross for joy. The mention of Jesus enduring the cross for the joy set before him underscores the intentional sacrifice. So, altogether, Hebrews is all about living intentionally by actively removing the obstacles persisting in your faith, keeping your focus on Jesus, and being willing to endure the difficulties for the greater joy that lies ahead. It's crazy how God works. See what he did today? The examples that he gave us. Whew. I was sweating. And it's cold. It's cold. It's pretty warm in here, though. I'll be honest. I'll be truthful. It's about 73 degrees. But in between the power surges, that HVAC system, I got to go take a look at it afterwards. It's, man. But I'm really grateful that everybody showed up today. And I'm really grateful that Cassandra was still showing up for us, and Tammy allowing us to see her today and gracing us with her presence and her thoughts and her insight. This is what we do. This is how we are intentional. And Brian, brother B, I know that he's intentional as well.
he's dadpreneuring and always doing what he's doing. And I'm pretty sure he's got that cold snap to deal with as well. I wonder if you're available, Ryan, and if you can unmic and unmute and tell us what's coming up for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, and I'm gonna keep it low because I don't want to wake Bree up. Grand rising, everyone. Hey, Tammy, great to see you. Hello, everyone. I don't know if Cassandra's still on, but hello, Cassandra. Thanks, Jay. Jay, you always keep me laughing, man. You are hilarious. Uh, I was trying to get on early. I had my site set on 6 a.m. I had some emails that I needed to send out earlier today, and I was really intentional about making sure that I did those things before I made it to the show. And wouldn't you know, it was a hop on pop day. So this whole cold snap. I've got horrible sinus afflictions, and I guess my youngest got them from me also, because last night was one of those stuffy runny nose nights, and anytime she's not feeling good, man, you best believe there's only one place she wants to be, and that's right on pop. So she hopped on pop this morning about 6:30, and I said, I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna cut everything off. I don't want to hear any alarms. I cut the heat down because that dry heat affects her sinuses something bad. And I was thinking to myself, man, I should have. I walked by when we were in Walmart the other day shopping. I walked by a cool mist humidifier, but it wasn't the right size. You got to get the right size for the square feet for it to actually make a difference for the square feet of the room. For you to actually uh, benefit from the cool mist. So I looked at it. I was like, nah, it's too small. And I was thinking, I should have gone and searched out for another one. But we were in Walmart, small town. I was surprised to even see that one sitting in there, right? So I was thinking to myself, I'll go on Amazon and I'll get one. And I never did it. And this morning I thought, man, I should have got that cool mist. I didn't realize that this cold snap was going to be so intense. And 6:45, 6:30, 6:45, hopped on pop and did not let up. Well, guess what happened? In pop, with all his intentionality, rolled over, looked at the clock, and it was 7:29. I said, oh man. I said, all my intentionality did me absolutely no good today. So I hurried up and I got on, and I couldn't move too fast because I didn't want to wake her, right? And I only got one arm. I got one good arm. I'm like I'm like the hunter. I got one good arm, and I can't use my right arm, and I'm right-handed. I can only use my left. So I'm handicapped over here, Jay. I'm only on the left side. It's cold outside. I got a really uh I got a real complicated situation here, right? Because I'm being intentional about being a dad first. Like, if you know me, you know nothing comes before these kids. I will let everything go in order to make sure that my kids are great. And that's where I'm at this morning, right? That's where I'm at this morning. I'm being intentional about being a dad first. And I make no explanations for it. I'm unapologetic about it. I see Cassandra with this. I see you there. I see you. I love being a dad, man. I love being a part of this collective. So not only was I intentional about being a dad, but my subconscious kicked in, right? Because I was so intentional. Even though I missed that slot that I had originally intended, I was never going to be able to miss the show, because deep in the recesses of my mind, I knew, hey, I got to be on the show. So even if I missed that, I didn't have the alarm clock set for my backup like I normally do, because I didn't want to wait. Free. I still had that internal clock set. And guess what? I'm still here, right? So that's an intentionality that we always talk about, that as long as you focus, and I know it's not Focus Friday yet, but as long as you focus on the things that you need to do, you will be intentional about doing them. It's almost innate. So just glad to be here, man. Like I said, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet because I don't want to wake this kid up and make this any uh any more complicated than it has to be. Because Jay, you know how she can get. So I just want to say thanks for you're a true savant, brother. Cassandra, I'll see you. Everyone,
Hello.
have a wonderful day.
I just wanted to jump in really quick and say thanks to everybody. This could have gone a completely different way. I asked Jay, with all the power surges and everything that's going on, do you want me to cancel? And he said, I don't want to cancel. He didn't even think about it. I don't want to cancel. And I didn't
That's
want
it.
him to feel obligated to put what was going on in his personal life aside for this, but that's what he always does. And Jay, you are so appreciated. But it was a spiraling effect. The people in the room, because I'm sitting with a bunch of my colleagues, and I had to explain. Our first meeting hadn't quite started yet, but where everybody's gathering, so you guys will see people kind of coming and going, and me greeting people. But I was explaining to them, I was like, you guys probably don't know this, but I have a podcast and it runs every morning at the same time. And it sounds like they're having some technical difficulties. So I want to grab my phone and get it going. And that just sparked interest in the room. And one guy said, can you send me the information? I'd love for my daughters to be able to log in and hear this. I'd love to know more about, because they asked me what it was about. So I told them. And so it gave an opportunity, with my 9 to 5 that otherwise I wouldn't have had. I don't typically talk to them about this. I keep them separate. Even when I send out invites and things like this, I'm really intentional about excluding the people at my job unless I have a personal relationship with them and they already know what I'm doing and they're interested. I just keep those lines separate because I don't want there to ever be, especially with me being in management, I don't want anybody to ever be able to say they had to do something because I was in a particular role at my job or things. So it's just easy to keep the lines separate. But it opened up that conversation, and now he's talking about his kids being here. When we got started, I'm sitting in the room next to him, like, sorry guys, I need to help them get going. They're having technical difficulties, and as soon as I said that, Jay lost. He was gone. He completely blanked out, and that was like his third surge. And so I pitched it over to Tammy, and Tammy doesn't do this every day. You guys may have seen her maybe a month and a half or so ago. I invited her in to guest spot because this is something that she's interested in, but she's getting comfortable being on camera. So I joked around with her a little bit before we started, and then she ended up being the only person who could really talk. I'm in a room, Jay's dealing with power, Brian hadn't joined yet. And Tammy just picked up the ball and ran with it. I pitched it, she caught it, and she ran the bases. And then Brian came in, despite everything that's going on, and trying to take care of his not trying, but doing, taking care of his daughter, making sure that her needs are the priority, and still showing up for us. So this entire experience is the definition of intentionality. It's the definition of commitment. It's the definition of professionalism. It's the definition of relationship and family. And I could go on and on and on, but the clock's ticking. I've got to get back in the conference room. But I just wanted to take a minute and really say, I see you all. I appreciate you guys for what you do and for how you show up for me and how you show up for yourself, how you show up for our audience. You're setting the tone. You are not talking about it, you're being about it. You're actually doing it. You're here despite whatever's going on externally because internally you've made a decision about the type of person you are, and your word is bond. You're going to show up and you're going to show out despite what's going on around you. And we talk about this all the time. If our internal is where it's supposed to be, we will manage the external with so much more grace and with a lot less stress because we know when all is said and done, what's supposed to be is going to be. And God got the glory. Jay broke right in and started with the scripture. No time for fluff, no time for other conversation. We're going straight to the cross because that's the only thing that got me through when I didn't know what was going on with this power. And so everything, and that's what I wanted to say to anybody within the sound of my voice, no matter what you're experiencing right now, you will look back on this day and you will see why you had to walk that walk. You'll see why, because there's going to be something that you got from it, something that you learned from about yourself, something that you learned about your relationships. There's going to be a gift. There will be something from every experience that will work out for your greater good if you will just keep moving forward. And I just wanted you guys to know that that's the example that you set today, and how much I appreciate you guys being a part of my life, a part of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show, and people that I know that I can reach out and touch. And before I ever hit the ground, you're going to break my fall. And I could not be more appreciative. So there's a lot of comments as well. There's a lot of comments as well. So I just wanted to bring those to your attention, so you guys can see the audience is really responding also. And but the message is thank you. I see you and thank you. And hopefully tomorrow will go a little bit smoother. But if it doesn't, we know that's going to all work out for our good as well. So y'all have a blessed day. And I'm going to get back to work. I appreciate you guys.
And we definitely appreciate you, Cassandra.
Thanks, Cassandra.
So as we go through our day, let's be intentional, right? And I'm going to read a few more things and maybe even end with scripture in a little bit as well, because the adversary. So LinkedIn user, I don't know who you are, but it's because it's just showing up as LinkedIn user. Actions are behaviors formed into habits that shapes destiny. Intentionality is understanding how to unlearn behaviors and habits that don't shape you for the divine destiny. Let me just put that up there. How to unlearn behaviors. Just as we are learning, we are also unlearning those bad habits, right? And this is going to help shape us for that divine destiny. Absolutely. Also, I guess it's the same person. Okay, so it's actually Erica Harris. So Erica, good to see you. And she says, here on LinkedIn for the support and authentic intentions. Yep. Thank you. Also saying trauma is the healing journey to connection. It allows you to navigate vulnerability without expectation. Yeah, I was definitely vulnerable in the moment after the tornado. So let's look at what Conchita has to say. And she says, intentionality makes the difference in how our lives unfold each day. Either we start out with a plan based on divine guidance, or just walk through the day aimlessly wandering through. So consistent intentionality is the key to our success, and with emphasis on consistent. Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Jay, it looked like Tammy was getting ready to jump in. I can see her. She
you saw
biting
my
it.
lip?
Yeah, I saw you.
Yeah, I'm into the comments. There's a whole ton of them here. So go ahead, Tammy. What's coming up?
So it just made me think, the comments and the scripture you read earlier made me think of something I just told my daughter yesterday. Because she's navigating, she's a young adult, so she's navigating through life and just real life problems or things that come up, and regrets. And when you read the scripture, that's what I thought about is, regrets. And I think, the enemy uses things to make us focus so much on regret that we live in the past and we never move forward. And because we're thinking to ourselves, I shouldn't have done that. What if I'd have done this? The shoulda, coulda, wouldas, right? And if you stay focused on regret, you stay focused on the storm and all the things you shouldn't have done, or all the things that you did that got you to that storm, you will never progress. You will never move forward. And I don't remember who it was that said it in the comments, but you you use those traumatic situations or those not so good situations maybe to strengthen you. You know, you walk through those storms and you come out, you know, better than you were when you got to the storm. You know, I've had that story. I came to Texas. I'm a diehard Floridian. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm a beach bum and love Florida. But I came to Texas laid off. I didn't have a dollar to my name. And it did not stop me from picking up my pieces and trying to move forward and rebuild my life. And I think, you know, we have options in life. We can sit back and just be somber and just sit and wallow and be sad and be like, oh God, I can't believe this happened to me. Well, things are going to happen. Right. Which is what I told my daughter yesterday. Things are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. Uncomfortable situations are going to occur. I think a lot of these are God's tests. Right. But nothing should stop you from getting to your purpose, from achieving your goals. And at the end of it, you know, end up humble and happy, and you have a story now to tell. You have a testimony to share with other people to say, listen, I went through this. So you have to go through things in grace. And I'm talking to myself too, right? We have to go through things in grace so that when we're in the midst of that storm, we understand that this is a test, right? You hold on to God tightly so that when you get through and you get to the end of that storm, you can testify and tell everybody how how you got through. Because we all know how we get through these things, right? God is there with us every single step of the way. And when we get through, you get through with humility, with grace, with, you know, kindness, so that you can now share those stories with other people. So I was just telling my daughter this the other day, and because she's young, she's trying to navigate life, and she gets stuck on things that happens, and she's not happy, and she lost her job, and so she was just really wallowing, like, oh my God, I can't believe, this happened to me. And I'm like, babe, this is life. These things are going to happen, but it does not have to stop you from achieving what you want to achieve. And so that's what I want to say. So Brian, thank you for seeing, because I was like, oh, I gotta jump in and say it, because it just was at the top of my mind. So I just wanted to share that. And Jay, thank you for sharing that scripture, because that really made me think of it. So I think for me, the main thing is just don't get stuck on regrets or any negative. Don't allow negative emotions to take over and have center stage when you are going through trying times. Go through those times, allow yourself to be sad, allow yourself to feel things. That's okay. I'm not saying that you can't feel, but when you get through on the other end, hold on to who you are. Hold on to who God made you to be, and we are victorious in God. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you for sharing. And you see how this all has worked out in alignment. Yeah, that's not by accident. Absolutely. This is exactly how it was supposed to happen. Let's go through the comments some more as we kind of round out this morning.
Hey Jay, let me jump in and say one thing. Tammy always takes that drink right at the perfect time. She lifts up that coffee mug, always like it's on cue. I just had to say that, because this is not the first time I've been on the show and I've seen her do that. She said some impactful, monumental, note-taking verse or additive, and you like, what? I can't believe I'm sitting up here thinking what she was just talking about how God is the only way we get through it. And then as soon as she finished, like, she reminds me of my dad. My dad used to do that. He'll say something really, really powerful, and then he'll take a sip of his coffee while he was telling you, like, yeah, you better listen. And then he takes a sip and he puts it back down.
That's that impactful pause that tells you to take in
That's what that is.
Take it in.
that dramatic pause is what I'm thinking about. And I'm gonna say it's also like who's that guy? Horatio Sands, the taking off the glasses, dramatic pause.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was thinking, I was thinking, the meme that goes around, sipping that tea, getting that cup of tea, or giving that cup of tea. So there's that. But we're all together today, showing up and showing out, and it's all in alignment with the glory of God, and it's something that we've come to find out we all have, and it's the beauty of the collective that Brian was talking about, and this is how it all shapes up, and it can happen for you in the same way every day, living intentional, having that focus. So let's look at some more of the comments. Emilio says, top of the morning to all who tuned in and making the difference as we unite and make having our host time count and be appreciated. God bless us all. He also says, blessed day. I wish upon you all from Dallas, Texas. So somebody else who's in Texas, Conchita says, perfect scripture, Jay, as it relates to intentionality. Thank you, Conchita. Emilio goes on to say, from Dallas, Texas, I wish you all a blessed and very prosperous day. Looks like Erica says, sacrifice makes room for purpose. I think this is when Brian was speaking. Lisa, hey, Lisa, intentionality is also one of my words for this year. Cassandra, thank you for this. Yep, I think it's on a lot of people's lips and thoughts these days. Dr. Marcia, she's coming in. It is not sacrifice if you love what you're doing. It is pruning for purpose. We were talking about that the other day, right? The garden. It is not sacrifice if you love what you're doing. It is pruning for purpose. Absolutely. Conchita also says, Brian, your sacrifice as a dadpreneur today will reap unimaginable rewards in the future. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no sacrifice. It's just an investment. The sacrifice is me not being able to move my right arm because I've got a 6-year-old that weighs a little bit more than she looks like laying on top of it. That's the only sacrifice here is not being able to move that right arm. It's not. I see. I think that was who's LinkedIn user, Jay? Is it Erica? I think Erica said that it was the arm was hurting and it would heal. This will never heal, Erica. I walked into a store the other night. With my youngest and my oldest, and they're both little princesses. They will always be in their dad's eyes. And when we went into the store, we were running across. Well, I was trying to get across the street, and my youngest looked up. She said, "Dad, I need you to carry me across the street. I'm not going to be able to make it." So I picked her up. We got into the store, and she said, "Now you can put me down." And that's the intentionality that we talk about. She knew right then what she was going to get her dad to do. She was intentional. Dad, I need you to do this. I know you're going to do it. And when she hopped on Pop this morning, she also knew, hey, Dad is going to always be there for me when I'm feeling bad. He's never going to put me down. He's never going to give me up. I feel like a song, Jay, but I'm not going to do it. So when you're intentional like that, one, is not a sacrifice. And two, Erica, this pain that I'm feeling in my right arm, nobody cares about it. It'll never go away. She is happy. She hopped on Pop, and ever since she's been a little girl, Jay, she's always been, but she's not that little anymore. Ever since she was a little bitty baby, man, I could hold her in my arm like a little football. And the bigger she gets, it doesn't matter. She still wants to be right there in that right arm, same as she did, almost 7 years ago now. And it's an investment, man. I know that she knows, just like her oldest sister knows, hey, this guy is gonna be here. And when we walked into the store, and this is where I came up with the story about the store. When we walked into the store, I put her down and she went and she picked out the shoes she wanted. And she was really intentional. She's like, nah, I don't like that. And it's weird because I used to, make suggestions like, hey, you like these? And she'd be like, yeah, I like those. Because she didn't really have her own sense of self. And now she's like, nah, I don't like that. Nah, I don't like that. So after I put them down, I felt kind of good because there was a sale on them. So I'm like, yeah, I like them too. So as soon as I said that, next thing I know, here comes my 22-year-old from around the bend. She's like, oh yeah. She said, yeah, these are the ones everybody's wearing now. They don't really wear those anymore. I said, oh my goodness, here it comes. Here comes the intentionality with hop on pop, even at 22, right? She hopped on pop, not physically, but metaphorically. Because hey, I need those $70 shoes over there that I can only wear while it's cool outside. I need you to get those for me, Pop. Yeah, sure, okay, right? Because hop on pop is not just hop on pop in the Dr. Seuss sense. Let's jump on pop. It's like hop on pop because we know pop's always going to be there. The little one knows it. The oldest one knows it. My son called me. He said, hey, did you forgot about me, didn't you? I said, no, I didn't forget about you, but I wanted you there and I didn't get to see you. So, we'll make it up. But the point is that the atrophy that I feel in my arm, it's not a bad thing, right? It's an investment. It's not a sacrifice. The sacrifices that people see themselves making is it's misconstrued when you think about it as sacrifice. I look at it like investment. I talk about the words that we use all the time. I talk about the textbook of the universe and how the words that we use impact the way that we live our lives. Everything that I do is for these kids, man. I can't tell you how important they are to me, how much they mean to me, how empowering it is to know that they know Dad's always going to be there when I need him. I am so intentional about that, man. I can't even tell you, man. When my youngest started, I started hearing signs last night. I'm like, it's got to be the weather because it got me too. And I could feel myself starting to tear up because I know what that means. She's gonna sleep a little differently. She's gonna require a little bit more attention. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot to be intentional, not just for work, but mostly for your family. You hear her now, she's moving around. I finally got a finger back from my right arm. So now that I can move, I'm gonna try to slide this out and I'm gonna let y'all finish up, Jay. I'm gonna try to get my right arm back. I got a window here and I'm gonna take it.
Go ahead, brother. You need that arm. So, this is definitely shaping up. Cassandra, she popped in to type in, I love this investment versus sacrifice. Absolutely. Let's look at the comments again. Conchita said, regrets are one of the enemy's greatest distractions to deter you from your purpose. It's part of his kill, steal, and destroy agenda. The remedy is to stay FOCUSED.
That is right. Yeah.
And she also says Tammy is definitely a great asset to the Fam 5. And she's got
thank you.
Yeah, she's got praise hands up, several of them. Dr. Marcia goes to say here, great points. Nothing lasts forever. God is faithful and works everything for our good. In your pruning, you must be accepting so you understand and maximize the lessons for the new and improved season.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
Well said.
Yeah. So I did say I was going to bookend this with another scripture. And this is the one I think a lot of people know. Matthew chapter 17, verse 20. He replied, because you have so little faith. Truly, I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. And with intentionality and with faith, we got through this morning. And we've got a wonderful message that came through. Several messages. And hopefully and prayerfully, it's reaching you. And maybe something that we said today actually resonated with you. And hopefully and prayerfully, you'll continue to be with us. And so, despite the adversity that we experienced this morning, and despite the storms that we experience in our life, with intentionality, we'll show up and show out, right? And so to the last scripture I just read, it teaches us that faith has the potential to move mountains. And it emphasizes the transformative and empowering nature of strong and steadfast belief in God, right? That intentionality and commitment. So let's be intentional today and every day. And just like for many, intentionality is going to be the word for 2024. For me, it's transformation. And I'll end with some comments today. Let me see. Erica says, being intentional is a great way to use your voice. I remember you noting that your investments are not always compensated. This is true. And sometimes it can take a little bit of time for that investment to mature. So if you hold steadfast, you may just see it. And it looks like Joan, I haven't seen this name here on LinkedIn, but Joan Mule says, an intentional father is one who is purposely engaged in disciplining our children, makes it a priority to set goals for the family, and actively seeks out ways to meet those goals. And, she's got a Bible verse. Looks like Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. I kid with B all the time. The more he moves into his journey in life, the more he gets closer to what his dad wanted for him. Being a pastor.
Don't start, Jay.
See.
It's true though. It's true. And I'm embracing it. I think about my dad every time I hear you start with scripture. Look, and then there goes Tammy with the coffee mug. Y'all just bringing it today, right? It's gonna make me put my collar on. I'm not gonna do it, Jay.
Go ahead and do it.
No, Tammy, we're not gonna do it. I've been fighting it this long. I'm gonna keep fighting it a little longer.
Keep fighting.
See, and when we talk about alignment, sometimes that alignment and sometimes that return on investment that parents and fathers put into their children may not be in their lifetime. Maybe it takes years and years and years. And I'll say this as we wrap up. my mom had prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed for years for me to come back to the church. I'm gonna get all misty-eyed here in a minute in my feels. And she was like, it's okay. It's okay that you pray, but get back into church. Get back into church. You'll find that it'll be helpful to you in your journey. You'll find that when you think you're alone, you're not. And when I was going through that aftermath of the tornado, right? My mom and all those lessons from church all came back.
Mm-hmm.
It all came back. And that investment that was made in me by my pastor and my mom and my parents all came back to her. And before she passed, that was one of the things that she was extremely happy and proud about, the fact that I came back. And so these investments that we make as parents, right? They may never see some of them and get some of that return. But in time, just know that things work out, and that alignment and that intentionality that you set out will come to fruition. So with that, all of that being said, and all the examples and all the messages that came out today, thank you so much for joining us here on the Cassandra Terry Morning Show with all of the things that we've talked about. I hope that you've received some value in some of the messages today. I'm so happy that we did what we did today, despite all the little things that got in our way. And you'll find that things will get in your way sometimes, but push through. You'll see what happens in the messages you'll receive. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. We hope that you join us tomorrow for another episode. For advertising or sponsorship questions, reach out to Cassandra or any one of the Fam 5 on their LinkedIn profiles. Have a great day, everyone.